Now we go to Kiev, where we're joined by journalist and marketing specialist Stanislav Rybachuk. Thanks for being with us as always. Obviously, a resident of the city there. We come to you a lot to get these general updates on the status of things. I'm going to ask you at first here, Stanislav, to put on your military analyst hat. I mean, it looks like a grim stalemate in these eastern battlefields, but is there a new battlefield approach for Ukraine's armed forces with an eye to some spring offensives?
Yep, definitely don't have a head of the military guy. I mean, I'm not nowhere close, but still. So as far as I can tell, the major shift that happened is that the West is finally supplying large numbers of weapons that can be used in offensives, and this, for us, shows that there is most likely a plan that is obviously shared between Ukrainian and, for instance, American military. There is the upcoming summits, like the war summit in Germany, the most recent one, which should happen on the 20th of January. So we are expecting all of these events to unfold in a certain way that Ukraine gets far more mechanized devices, let's call them that way, that will help us conclude anything. In return, Russia seems to be planning an offensive also for the same kind of date, somewhere in the end of February, in the beginning of March, where they are thinking of reclaiming certain territories that they have lost so far. To be honest with you, I have no idea how they can do this and how it can even in theory look like if they try to hit Kiev again. They are again stretching their forces across more than 2,000 kilometers line. If they are advancing somewhere in the Kherson region, it doesn't really make any kind of military sense. So up to our expectations is going to be something major to report in-house in Russia that they are still progressing in the war.
Certainly, so many possibilities. Look, all the focus on this relatively small town of Bakhmut right now in the east. I mean, why the focus there? Is it a major crossroads, sort of a gateway to the breakaway provinces out there? Why the focus there?
As usual with Russians, there is no logic, to be honest. Like, this is there's not a single thing about that city that makes it anything strategical. So the only reason they're fighting there so much is because they simply want to claim let's say, the town that they have proclaimed so many times in their internal news. They call it Artemovsk, the Soviet version of the city. They have claimed it for like 8 to 9 times over the last couple of months. By couple, I mean 6 months. And obviously, they're not in the city center or nowhere close. So I think that it's more like a pride thing for the specifically not Russian forces, but the private army of Prigozhin, which is claimed to be fighting there.
Yes, I think it was making up a lot of the forces on the ground from whatever we can tell. You're in Kiev, and you've touched on this before. The previous assaults on Kiev, the threat that the city, would fall at the early part of this conflict. What right now in January here, the dead of winter? I mean, what's daily life like in Kiev right now? Is there a semblance of normalcy? Am I going too far?
No, I mean, people do want to feel like it's normal, but it's obviously not, especially whenever we have hotter, lower temperatures. So right now it's around -10, which is, again, far more than used to be a couple of weeks ago. And the energy grid is immediately overloaded because people are trying to heat their apartments. They're turning on whatever ACs or anything else to somehow keep up with the with colder weather. And the overall capacity that our energy grid has is nowhere close to support this. So we have far more of electricity cuts, and should there be another major and successful attack from Russia, we don't fear the complete blackout as used to be before because the system seemed to be on edge. I think that over the last couple of weeks we have supplied more goods from our partners in the West, of course, but it's still kind of gloomy.
And you mentioned that U.S. assistance ramping up, major hardware coming in. In the near term, it's not stuff we're talking about the next few months. We're not talking about any kind of diplomatic breakthroughs. It's all about battlefield maneuvering. It's all about the war still unfolding in front of you. Is that right?
We want to see it that way. So that's a very good summary of how we see it in Ukraine, at least. So we, for instance, the major move that President Macron made by giving us even light tanks, but that was considered to be a complete taboo, like getting tanks to Ukraine of the Western Front, that seems to be kind of edgy and will, have some kind of response from Moscow. So that seemed to be broken. We are extremely thankful to France for breaking that taboo in front of the world society, and we're expecting other nations to follow, as Germany seems to be doing out of their talks in Bundestag. So this is something that we're looking at right now.